So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper and we will go through the 3-4 important articles, and there are practice questions which will be discussed, and then we will wrap up the session with another practice question for you to try at home. Okay. So in today's discussion, we will talk about shield against arrest extended. So basically there was this case, you must have heard about this. Newsclick founder step out of Tihar after Supreme Court says that there should be an immediate release of this person. Okay, we will see what was this case about and why this is being talked about recently, because and other than that, Supreme Court has said that these arrest provisions has been extended to UPA as well. Okay, earlier when we are talking about the Money Laundering and Prevention Act, there was these provisions and they have been extended to UPA. We will see which kind of provisions has been extended. Then citizenship certificate under CAA. So you know that there was this 2019 there was this amendment which has come in Citizenship Act. So under that recently we have notified rules of this particular CAA 2019 for the implementation of CAA 2019. Based on those rules, recently nearly 14 certificates has been provided to various people. Okay, and they have been given the Indian citizenship. We will talk about that. And then what is Nakba? Okay, so we will talk about this term, what is this term and why it is in news. Okay, then from the front page, as I told you, we will be discussing this particular news, and then we will go forward with the other news articles. Okay. So let's start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture, that is, this form of hepatitis could be passed via contaminated water or food. They are talking about contaminated water and food. There are other ways as well, like blood, or you can say other bodily fluids, etc. But when we are talking about contaminated water and food, there are this A and E. The hepatitis A and hepatitis E are basically spread via this particular means. So option A is your answer. Other than that, here you can see hepatitis A and E usually spread through the contact with the water and food that is contaminated with an infected person. Okay. Now you can also get hepatitis E by eating undercooked food. Other than that, for when you are talking about B, C and D, they spread through the, you can say, blood of a person who has been contaminated or infected. Then when we are talking about the next thing that is related to hepatitis B and D, that is that can be spread through the other bodily fluids. Okay. Like sharing a drug needle, or otherwise you can say during unprotected sex. In all such situation, the hepatitis B and D can be spread. Okay, so that is about your practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. So let's start with the article 1 of the day, that is not going into merits of UPA case. Okay, so basically what happens, that this particular case has been filed against this person. Okay, and this FIR was related to various things, and one of the charges was that he has got some funding from China, okay, to propagate their propaganda. Okay, so that is why that there was this UAPA which has been invoked against him, and he was arrested. Now the problem is, he was arrested in the 6:30 at the 6:30 in the morning. At that point of time, at the same time also there was a remand sheet that has been signed, or you can say remand order which has been signed by a magistrate. Okay, so it is speculated that the you can say remand was already granted, and then there was this arrest, and there were certain additions which were made afterwards in the order. Okay, so considering all these things, all these situations, Supreme Court has granted bail because there was no due course which has been followed. Supreme Court has taken the cognizance of the thing that the grounds of the, you can say, arrest has not been conveyed to the accused. Okay, so considering all these things, Supreme Court has said that this person should be released from the immediate effect. Second thing is that the whatever we have decided should not have any impact on the merit of the UPA case, the original case which has been there in the trial court. Afterward, these when we are talking about this particular situation, that arises because of the bail situation. Okay, and when we are talking about the bail, or you can say arrest, in this particular case, when arrest has happened, the ground has not been shared with the accused. When we see, if there is an arrest, there are certain procedure which has to be followed, like you have to tell the grounds, you have to show the identity, you have to tell that why that person has been arrested. Other than that, a friend or a family should be informed about their whereabouts, there should be a medical checkup, all these things should be there. Considering all these things, that there was this DK Gupta case which has laid down all these you can say provisions. But the thing is, in this particular case, the ground has not been conveyed. Second thing, on the request of the accused person, after the remand petition has been filed, or you can say remand order has been signed by the magistrate at 6:30 a.m. After that, nearly 1 hour after that, there was this you can say communication which was made to his lawyers. So ultimately you can say that all in all, the due process has not been followed in this particular case, and that is why Supreme Court has said that since the due course of action has not been taken, or due process has not been followed, and that is why this person deserve a bail. Okay, now he is out. Here you can say any person arrested for any offence has fundamental and the statutory right to be informed about the grounds of arrest in writing, and a copy of such grounds of arrest has to be furnished to the arrested person as a matter of course, with or without exception at you can say, and without exception at earliest. Okay, so basically they are saying that that person has right to know, that is a fundamental as well as statutory right. Okay, so that is one thing. Here Supreme Court declared as this particular action, the arrest has been declared invalid, and the arrest and the subsequent remand of the Newsclick web portal founder editor Prabir Purkayast Prabir Purkayast under Unlawful Activity Prevention Act, that is UPA, and order his immediate arrest. So that was the situation, that was basically the incident which has happened. Okay, he was arrested last year in October. Okay, after by the Delhi Police Special Cell, and FIR was filed. That FIR says that there are allegations related to attempt to show Kashmir and Arunachal Pradesh as not part of India. He has shown a map which says that these are part of you can say uh, China, as well as the POK area has been occupied by Pakistan. So that particular scene he has shown in some particular thing, that was one allegation. Second allegation was that during the COVID-19 also something like that has happened, and third thing was that he has got funding from China to propagate their ideology or their you can say propaganda. Okay, so considering all these things, UPA has been invoked and then he was arrested. Okay, now shield against the arrest extended to stringent provisions of UPA. When we are talking about the arrest, when we are talking about the bail, all these matters in the stringent case, like you can say terrorism or money laundering, in such cases there are certain exceptions. Okay, like arrest become very easy and the bail become very difficult in such cases. Okay, but recently in this order Supreme Court has said that the arrest related provisions should be followed in the case of UPA as well as in the Money Laundering and Prevention Act. Okay, so here you can see investigation agency mandatorily share the ground of arrest in writing to the accused was in context of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, that is PMLA. When we are talking about PMLA, there was this provision that you have to give in the writing what are the ground of the arrest. Okay, but now Supreme Court has extended the same principle in the UPA as well. Okay, they have said that the principle the Supreme Court has now extended to Unlawful Activity Prevention Act UPA. Thus, any attempt to violate such fundamental right guaranteed under Article 20, 21, 22 okay, of the Constitution of India would have to be dealt strictly. Extended procedural safeguard to UPA is crucial as the law gives the state wide power from relaxing the timeline of the state filing charge sheet and the stringent condition for the bails compared to the Indian Penal Code. Okay, so as I told you, when we are talking about the laws like UPA, prevention of money laundering, PMLA, in such cases state gives a wide range of power to the investigation authorities. They can go for arrest, they can go for you can say in the case of bail, there are you can say provisions which are making bails nearly impossible. Okay, and then other thing is that there are timeline you can say relaxation with respect to the timeline when we are talking about the filing of charge sheet. Okay, normally if we are talking about the IPC, there are certain time limit in which you have to file the charge sheet, that is nearly 90 days, but you have to confirm about that. But in this case there is a relaxation, UPA or PMLA, there is a relaxation when we are talking about the charge sheet. Okay, so such wide range of power has been given to you can say state in this particular matter, and that is why Supreme Court has extended these provision so that there cannot be unlawful arrest. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now here you can say there is this explained article on page number 14, as many people has requested that there should be a page number so that they can navigate easily from in the newspaper. So that is why I have given the page number as well. Okay, I will try to give most of the time. Now why Supreme Court said the Newsclick founders arrest is illegal and why bail is significant. We have talked about the issue why it has happened. Okay, and issue of the timing of the arrest, as I told you, at 6:30 a.m. the arrest was done. Okay, invoking the UPA Act, he was actually you can say arrested because there was this allegation that he had received money for pro-China propaganda. Okay, then FIR says that there are various sections, section 13, 17, all these things you don't have to remember. Just know that there was unlawful activities related things, terrorist act related thing, raising funds for the terrorist acts, conspiracy, offense by the companies, etc. All these things has been added to the charge sheet. Now, Purkay's case, on October 4, without any prior notice, he has been taken from the residence at 6:30 to a judge for a remand hearing. 6:30 a.m. they have gone for the remand hearing, and at 6:30 a.m. there was this order which has been signed. Okay. After the order has been signed, then he has requested for the attorney, and then at around 7:30 the attorneys were informed about it, and they have gone for the, you can say, stay against the this particular thing, that there should not be you can say remand which is to be given. Remand, when we are talking about, this is the something, you can say, a kind of a custody to the investigating agency. Okay, but at that point of time this was already been given. Okay, and when Supreme Court has taken the cognizance of the case, they have seen that there are certain lines which has been added later on in the order. So they have seen that the due course has not been followed. Okay, so that was one thing. Second thing was, when we are talking about the communication which has been done to the lawyers at around 7:30, at that point of time also there has been this unsigned copy of the remand application. Unsigned copy of the remand application was sent to the lawyers at 7:30 via WhatsApp. Okay, but at that point of time already remand has been signed. Okay, the remand order has been signed. So that is why there was a various tweaks which has happened in this particular case, and that is why Supreme Court has you can say clearly these things were visible. So Supreme Court has given the bail. Now, issue of legality of the arrest. First thing, as I told you, Article 22(1), or we have talked about, this is against the Article 20, 21 and 22. We will see how it is against 22. 22 clause 1 of the Constitution says that protection against the arrest and detention. Okay, so here you can see, no person who is arrested shall be detained in the custody without being informed as soon as may be the grounds of the such arrest or such arrest, nor shall he be denied to right to the consult and to be defended by a legal practitioner of his choice. Now here though three things are mentioned. One thing is that you cannot detain a person until unless you tell them the grounds. Okay, so that was not done over here. Second thing was, you cannot deny the right to consult or to be defended by the legal practitioners. That was also denied in this particular case. Okay. Now there is another case, that is Pankaj Bansal versus Union of India. Okay, if you want you can remember, otherwise it is not important. That particular case, that to give the true meaning to the constitutional and the statutory mandate, it would be necessary a copy of such written grounds of the arrest is to be furnished to the arrested person without exception. Okay, so at that point of time they have said that a copy of written grounds should be presented to the accused or the person who is been arrested. Now, in Pankaj Bansal case, it was happening with respect to the Money Laundering and Prevention Act. Now, such provision has been extended to UPA as well. Okay, here you can say Supreme Court rarely applies procedural guidelines to UPA cases. Anti-terror laws are treated as a separate class of legislation, justifying given vast power to the state. Okay, and there is virtual bar against the grant of bail. As I told you, the provisions are so stringent that there is virtually it is not possible to go for a bail in such cases, and that is why it is important that unlawful arrest should not be there, or you can say any kind of arrest which is not legal should not be done in this case, because after that getting a bail would be a difficult task. Okay, so that is the thing over here, and this is about this particular case. You can go through this articles if you want, otherwise this must suffice for your examination point of view. Okay, so you can go through this particular thing. Just remember 2-3 things. One is your Article 20, 21, 22 of the Constitution. Other than that, what are the provisions with respect to UPA? Okay, UAPA. Now, when we are talking about the arrest, earlier it was not in UPA, it was unclear that whether such grounds should be held, because the thing is UPA deals with sometimes terrorist activities, etc. And it is said that since these are the matters of national security, these are sensitive matters, and that is why the ground has not been told to the accused. Okay, but Supreme Court in this case made sure that such ground should be you can say communicated to the accused before the arrest. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now we can move further to the next article. Hold on. Okay, so yesterday one more comment was that related to plastic bottles. So we have taken that into cognizance. So thank you for that, and we are sorry for that we have done that. Now coming moving forward, again center hands over citizenship certificates to 14 under CEA. Okay, when we are talking about the CEA, Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, at that point of time 6 communities which are persecuted in 3 countries, okay, for them the process of naturalization, or the you can say the process of getting citizenship by naturalization has been relaxed. Okay, so it was said that there is a deadline which was fixed, and after that particular deadline, if a person has come to India and he was kind of illegal immigrant at that point of time, and he was persecuted from the 3 countries, that is Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. In such cases, and there are 6 communities which has been identified, and he is from those 6 communities, that is Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi and Christians. Okay, so he is from these 6 communities. They can get the citizenship of India, okay, with certain procedure that has to be followed, and for that we have come up with the CAA rules recently. And with respect to these rules, recently they have started giving the certificates. This is the first such incident wherein these certificate has been given. Here let's see. 2 months after the Ministry of Home Affairs notified the rules for implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act CAA, which was enacted by Parliament in December 2019, the first set of citizens certificate has been given to 14 applicants. Okay, nearly when we are talking about these certificates has been given to them people in physical form, and then there are nearly 200 digitally signed certificates which are already there. Okay, now there is this empowered committee headed by the Director Census Operation Delhi. They will be deciding on granting the citizenship, and they have scrutinized them and then given the 14 the citizenship to the 14 applicants. The first set of citizenship certificate after notification of the rules were issued today, or when we are talking about today, that is May of 15th. Now so far over 200 digitally signed certificate has been issued through emails. Okay, and when we are talking about the provision, we will see in the next slide. So this is about your recent news that we have started giving the certificates for the you can say CA. Now coming to the what is the provision with respect to CA, these can be important for your prelims. So please remember, it is when we are talking about the Citizenship Act, you know that in India we are having 2 kind of sources to get the citizenship. One is your constitution. Even in constitution there are certain provisions which are given, which are saying that how can be the citizen of India. Okay, so these are certain provisions which are there in the constitution, and then constitution authorized parliament to make a law, and parliament has come up with a law, that is Citizenship Act 1955. Okay, now you can tell me that with the you can say with what authority, or you can say with which provision, either from the constitution or from the Citizenship Act of 1955, how we are citizens of India, or you can say the generation we are living in, how we are getting our citizenship from either from the constitution or from the Citizenship Amendment Act. Okay, what is the source of our citizenship? You have to tell me in the comment box. Okay, now when we are talking about the Citizenship Amendment Act or 1955, there was this act, Citizenship Act of 1955, which was made by the parliament, and recently there was this amendment in 2019, and 2 months back there were certain rules which has been notified by the Home Ministry with respect to implementation of the amendment. Okay, now it amended the Citizenship Amendment Act, Citizenship Act of 1955 to make illegal migrants who are Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi and Christian. Here you can say these are the 6 communities which are from Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. These are the 3 countries. Okay, so if you are persecuted from these countries and you are illegally living in India, or you are illegal immigrants in India, then they will be eligible for this particular amendment or the Indian citizenship. The those from the communities, these communities has entered India on or before December 31st, 2014. So this is the deadline which has been mentioned, that is 31st of December 2014. Okay, clear? So before, on or before, if you are coming to India with respect to these 6 communities and from these 3 countries, then you will be eligible for this amendment over here. However, it exempts the Muslim communities. So this law is not for the Muslim communities. Okay, that was one cause of concern when we are talking about the protest which has happened in 2019 with respect to that. Now, what is the relaxation they have provided? So here, when we are talking about the process of naturalization, there are various processes through which you can get your citizenship. One of them is naturalization, other is registration, etc. So that you must have read in static part. Now, the amendment relaxed the residency requirement from 11 years to 6 years. Earlier in naturalization, you have to stay in India for 11 years and afterwards you will be getting the citizenship. But with this particular amendment, for the 6 communities and the you can say 3 countries, that has been reduced to 6 years. That does not mean that any other Muslim person cannot be a citizen of India. From the regular procedure, regular naturalization procedure, you can go for that as well. But for these communities which has been deemed to be persecuted from these particular areas, and that is why they have relaxed this particular norm. Okay, so it will not you can say affect the original things which are there, like original process of naturalization for other people. Okay. Now, what are the exceptions? When we are talking about this particular amendment, there are certain exceptions. That is, one is your 6th schedule. There are 4 states. One is Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Tripura. Okay, these are the 4 states which are under 6th schedule, and they are regarded as, you can say, exception to this particular provision. Other than that, there are certain states which are under inner line permit system. This permit system was started by the Britishers and we are still following it. Okay, so it was started under the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation Act 1873. Okay, so this inner line permit system has started way back then and we are still following it. So 2 things, one is 6th schedule states, that is your Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Tripura. And when we are talking about this inner line permits, there are states like Arunachal, there are states like Manipur where this inner line permit system is there. So these areas are basically exempted from it, and not whole state, but just the areas which are having this inner line permit system. Okay. Now that is about your Citizenship Amendment Act. We can move further. Next article, which is related to mining in Rajasthan. We will talk about that. Hold on. Okay. No mining within 1 kilometer radius around the tiger habitats. So earlier, you know that when we are talking about the national park, when we are talking about the wildlife sanctuaries, so you know that in the vicinity of these areas, the activities like mining, etc. are prohibited. When we are talking about the national park, inside the national park, there are certain, or mostly most of the activities are prohibited when we are talking about the national parks. Okay, but outside this national park, up to certain you can say extent, these mining activities are also prohibited. Recently, the Supreme Court has said to the Rajasthan government that in case of tiger reserves, also, these mining activities will be prohibited up to 1 kilometers. Okay, so that is one thing which has happened recently, and this was the case wherein certain issues related to boundaries has been discussed. There is this particular wildlife sanctuary, that is Sariska Wildlife Sanctuary in Rajasthan. That is Sariska Wildlife Sanctuary in Rajasthan. Okay, so there was issues related to the boundary of this particular thing, because earlier you know that whenever there is a wildlife sanctuary, there is the core area and then there is will be a buffer area. Okay, but recently the boundaries of wildlife sanctuaries has adjusted in a way that there is no buffer zone left. Okay, so that is why this case was there in the Supreme Court, and in that particular case, Supreme Court has made an observation and they have said that there cannot be any mining activity within 1 kilometer radius of critical tiger habitats. Okay, mining within 1 kilometer from the boundary of national park or the wildlife sanctuary shall not be permissible. This was earlier there. Okay, and as such the prohibition will automatically be applicable to the critical tiger reserves. Okay, that is what Supreme Court has said. The protected area would not only mean national park and wildlife sanctuaries, but critical tiger reserves or tiger reserves are also part of your protected areas. Okay, continuation of any mining activity within the radius of 1 kilometer from the boundaries of the critical tiger reserves would be contempt of our order from 2023. There was this order April 26, 2023. There was this order which said that there cannot be mining, and if you do it now, there will be a contempt against, or you can say contempt of the court over here. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now we can move further to the next article. Okay, guidelines for ETO treatment has been reiterated to the exporters. We have talked about this particular compound, that is ethylene oxide. Ethylene oxide, we have told you that in Singapore and Hong Kong there was this concern related to the presence of this particular compound in the you can say spice mixes by the Everest and MDH. So with respect to that, they have said that there should not be sale of these brands, or you can say a particular mix, because there are you can say more quantity of ethylene oxide with respect to the whatever benchmark has been set. Okay, but after that, what has happened, that India has also taken cognizance of this time. India has made the testing and sampling of the ethylene oxide residue for all spice shipment to the Singapore and Hong Kong mandatory from May 7th. Okay, so that is one thing which we have done. Second thing is that there is this Spice Board of India. They have taken a step to ensure that the safety and the quality of the Indian spices export to the Singapore and Hong Kong is maintained. Okay, so you can go and see where the Spice Board of India is located, or you can say where is the office main headquarter of this Spice Board of India is located, because that can be asked. Okay, so you can go through that and reply in the comment box where we have the main office, or you can say this Spice Board of India is established. Okay, now we have talked about ethylene oxide. It is used as a, you can say, a pesticide, or you can say to increase the shelf life. It is used to increase the shelf life of these mixes, spice mixes, and because of the presence of this particular compound in the spice mixes, Singapore and Hong Kong said that they will be banning these products. Okay, and now on, India has said that whatever export we are doing to Singapore and Hong Kong, we will check for the, you can say, amount of ethylene oxide in that. Okay, after that, New Zealand, okay, United States, and recently Australia, they have also taken this particular thing into consideration, and they have also gone for the certain, you can say, looking into the Indian mixes. Here you can say New Zealand looking into Indian spice branded over contamination. New Zealand's food safety regulator on Wednesday said it is investigating the possible contamination in the spice product of top Indian brands like MDH, Everest, after faced scrutiny in other countries. USA and Australia have been looking into the contamination after the Hong Kong and Singapore that has happened, and they have suspended the sale of 3 spices blends of MDH and 1 of the Everest. Okay, so that is about this particular thing, and it is ethylene oxide. One more point I would like to tell you over here is that it is said that this particular pesticide can be cancer causing. Okay, so that is a cause of concern, and that is why all these things are happening in the recent time. Now moving further in the next article, what is Nakba? Okay, so recently you know that this issue of Israel, Hamas, Israel, Palestine has been in news, and because of which there are certain terminologies which can be important for you. When we are talking about 15th of May, okay, that is considered as Nakba Day. Okay, so that is important for you. Why Nakba Day? Nakba Day is basically, you can say, it is the meaning of this word Nakba is basically catastrophe. But Palestinians are actually referring it to the displacement which has happened. You know that when there was this issue in the start, when the Jews started to migrate to this particular area, okay, and afterwards in 1917, after the World War, this at that point of time, and what happens is that UK, United Kingdom says that they will support a homeland for Jews, okay, and Jews will be given a homeland in this particular area wherein the Arab population which are already residing in that particular area will be given half of the part, and then other part will be given to the Israelis. Okay, and after World War II, when all these things has happened and the World War II has ended, in 1948, UK decided that they will be leaving this particular portion and they will be going back home. So at that point of time, they have left this particular area under the supervision of United Nations. Okay, and United Nations has come up with a partition plan. Okay, partition plan, and they have said that nearly 55% of the territory will be given to the Israelis and other territory will be for the Palestinians. But at that point of time, what happens that the Palestinians say that they are not ready for this particular thing, and ultimately they started small, you can say, fightings, etc. And there was this militia which has been generated, and ultimately there was you can say wars which has happened, and Israel at that point of time declared independence, and then they start to take over the area. Okay. Now, when they started to take over the area, they started to make sure that these Palestinians are removed from that particular area, and that particular event of replacing or the displacement of the Palestinians from their homeland, that was considered as Nakba Day. Okay. So, coming back to the article here, we will talk about this in detail. So, here catastrophe in Arabic, it is referred to the displacement of the Palestinian for the creation of Israel in 1948. Now, when we are talking about the Nakba, that is not just an event, it is a whole process. Okay. It started in 1948. Before that also there was certain incidents which has happened, and but afterwards there is a change which has happened, because you know that 1948 we have seen the independence of Israel, or you can say establishment of Israel. Afterwards there was displacement, and in 1962 there was displacement. They have taken over the Gaza Strip, West Bank area. We are talking about the Syria, you can say Golan Heights is under the control of Israelis. Okay, so all these things has happened as a process and not as an event. Okay, so the whole process of displacement of the Palestinian is called Nakba. Now coming to the article, Palestinian observe 15th of May, the day after the Israeli declaration of the independence in 1948 as Nakba Day, but Palestinian catastrophe neither began or ended in 1948. So as I told you, this is not a, you can say, a particular event, but it is a proper process. Okay. Now migration to the promised land, how it started. Okay, so idea of returning to the promised homeland has always been the central feature of the Jewish culture. When we are talking the Bible, Hebrew Bible, the oldest Bible, in the Hebrew Bible it is said that God has gave the land of Canaan, that is the word Canaan. God has given the land of Canaan, modern day Israel and Palestine, to the descendant of the Abraham who established the first Israeli nation there. Okay. Then by 19th century, when we are talking about, very few Jewish remained in Ottoman ruled Palestine, other has dispersed to the various areas of Europe and other areas. There they were living prosperously, because when we are talking about the Jews, they are quite prosperous as a community, but they are living as a vulnerable minority over there. Okay. Then in 1881, 82, there was this anti-Semitic pogroms which has happened in parts of Russia, and because of which first wave of migration has happened, and these Jews from this particular area, they tried to come and started living in this particular area. Since they were a prosperous community, they had money, so they had started purchasing the land over there from the absentee landlords over there. Okay, so they have started taking the lands over there, and then started to take agricultural land, etc. That has happened in 19th century with the Semitic anti-Semitic programs in the Russia. Okay. Then what happened in 20th century? As I told you, in 1970, there was this promise which has said that we will establish Palestine of, you can say, established in Palestine, a nation of home for the Jewish people. Okay. So Britishers has promised that they will, in this particular area of Palestine, they will give you a land for their own homeland, that is Israel or Jews land. Okay. Then there was this population which has increased. In 1920 it was 76,000, by 1945 it was nearly 5 lakhs. Okay. But then what happens, in after World War II, you can say there is this date which has been given after World War II. As I told you, that has been responsibility has been given to the UN. UK has left from this particular area, and UN has come up with the partition plan, okay, partition of Palestine. November 29, 1947, they have come up with the partition plan, and they have said that 55% of the territory will be given to Israel, left or the rest territory will be given to the Palestinians. Palestinians did not like the idea, Arabs has rejected the proposal, and after that fighting broke, and Zionist militia, the Israeli militia or the Jewish people who are having this militia, they were having this training from the UK, because they have participated in the World War. So they had the training, they had the, you can say, modern weaponry, and that is why they actually took control of this area. They won the wars, these fightings which has happened at that point of time, they won it, okay, and ultimately this particular mass expulsion of Palestinians has happened from the towns and villages, that is called Nakba, okay. Nearly more than 7 lakh Palestinians has been become refugee. They have been expelled from the areas of this particular, when we are talking about the modern day Israel and Palestine. Okay, Nakba has since become a central aspect of the Palestinian identity. But the Palestinian dispossession did not end in 1948. As I told you, after that there was this Arab-Israeli war in 1967. This was a war wherein they have taken the Sinai Peninsula as well as the Golan Heights. Okay, they have taken the Sinai Peninsula. Israelis has taken the Sinai Peninsula from the Egypt and the Golan Heights from the Syria. In 1973, somewhere they have returned the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt in the exchange of that Suez Canal, and then, or you can say, opening of that Suez Canal. And then when we are talking about the Sinai Peninsula, it is still with the Golan Heights of Syria, that is still with the Israel. Okay, they have not returned it. Now Israel today controls closer to 80% of the erstwhile Palestine. So earlier 55% was given by the UN in the partition plan. Right now they are actually having 80% control over this particular area. When we are talking about some settlements in West Bank and Gaza Strip, this is belonging to Palestine. Other than that, most of the area is under the control of Israel. So that is about your Nakba, that is about the Israel-Palestine issue. Okay, now we can move further the next article. Okay, so there was this incident which has happened. Now per se this incident is of no use for us, but the thing is you should know the location of Slovakia. Okay, so this is our homework, to go and check the location of Slovakia. Okay, nearby, if there is a water body, if they have any boundary with any kind of water body, or it is a landlocked country or not, all these things you can remember. So what has happened over here, that their Prime Minister Robert Fico has been shot, okay, and he is critical, not dead but critical. And why this has happened? Because there are certain, you can say, he has been criticized in this particular, because of certain things. But the thing is, the more motive behind the shot, or you can say motive behind this firing, was not been you can recognized yet. But right now we can say that that person who shot this Prime Minister, it is in he is in custody. And there are certain speculations, or you can say that when we are talking about the domestic politics over here, you can say that he has drawn criticism in some quarters of taking more pro-Russian stance in Ukraine war. When we are talking about the European countries, mostly European countries are in favor of Ukraine, but this particular country, Slovakia, they have taken a pro-Russian stance, okay, and initiating reforms in criminal laws. So in the domestic politics, they have gone for the criminal law reforms, and for that also he is facing some kind of criticism. And criminal laws and the media, which has raised concern over the rule of law and the prompted street protests. Okay, so all these things which has happened, because of which there was speculations that there can be some other reason, but the thing is, reason is not yet clear. But Slovakia is in news for you, so please go ahead and you can say look at the territory of this particular area. Now, last part, that is related to your practice questions. Which of the following, in the context of which the term qubit is mentioned? We have talked about this qubit earlier. Other than that, we have talked about qubits in our current affairs revision series as well. Okay, so which of the following is the context in which the term qubit is been mentioned? Cloud services, quantum computing, visible light communication technologies, wireless communication technologies. Okay, so you have to attempt this question, answer in the comment box. This question has been asked in UPSC as well, so that becomes even more important for you. So please attempt this question and answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave, and if you have any doubt, you can put it in the comment section. And other than that, if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel. Thank you.